Hey guys, I think I'm live. So, yes, we're going to make the mod in this stream, and this stream will basically cover episode 3 of the E4 repertoire, and it'll be Gambits again, guys. So, do let me know if you can hear me and see me, and we're going to start with some one more Gambit, and this is slightly longer than yesterday, so hopefully it'll covered in this stream. So, guys, you let me know you can hear me and see me, and then we can begin. One more Gambit, and so hopefully it'll covered in this stream. So guys, okay, I think it's great. Hi Shansh. I think I did not get a notification, so hopefully I hope people will join in because I personally did not get a notification. So let's see. So guys, we saw the Italian gambit yesterday, and that was basically e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, and d4. This is what we saw yesterday. If somebody has not seen it, they are really welcome to go back and check out that stream later. It was a short stream, so you can easily look at it. We looked at all three responses: e takes d4, knight takes d4, and bishop takes d4. Now I think the next one is basically, well, we have already played the pawn to d4, so why not go for b4, which is the Ivan's gambit. And this will be the next one which we'll cover today. So, well, here black has many responses, and this is a very famous gambit. I think it was popularized by Kasparov, I remember, also at some point, and he kind of played this against Anand and even won a game. And there are many sharp games here, but I think nowadays theory is well established in most lines, and black knows how to equalize. So, of course, we cannot expect a clear winning position every time, but we can try our best. Especially, there was one more Dubov's idea, I think. We will also look at that game maybe at some point. So, I think, okay, we can wait for other people to join in. Guys, can you let me know if you can hear me and see me properly? Just once let me know. And we'll also have one puzzle for the mod, so that also I'll keep in mind. Okay, let me see. Hi, Saurav. Guys, do let me know if you can hear me and see me and everything is fine. Great, Ramakrishna. So, okay, so after b4, which is the Ivan's gambit, I think here somehow black has many responses. He can go bishop e7. He can go bishop b6. He can capture the pawn. There are many ways, but mostly black captures. But somehow you also have to briefly look at bishop b6. You should know this, of course, because black can play like this. So one needs to be aware of what is this, what can be played here. And here, I think you should go for the move a4. b5 is another move which is possible, but somehow after knight a5, knight e5, there is queen g5, and suddenly white's pieces are somehow hanging. Everything is hanging actually. And I would not like to go for this, especially when g2 is hanging and there is this bishop pressuring f2. This looks very scary. सौरभ कुछ आसान क्वेश्चन ही पूछेंगे, so don't worry. चांस तो हर किसी का ही होगा. Let's see. And here now bishop b6 के बाद I think a4. So the purpose of these moves are to basically gain space on the queen side, guys. So you can see ये bishop जो है ये kind of almost trapped है, and we're trying to use this bishop to gain space. And often in the Italian, white would play something like this: c3, b4, a4, a5. Here just we have not played c3. That is the only difference. And otherwise, this is just very common actually in the Italian. You try to gain space on the queen side. You try to create some weaknesses here, जिसको हम end game में use कर सकते हैं. So in this position, for example, if knight takes b4, now this is very simple. You play a5, bishop c5. Now you play c3, knight c6, and now you play d4. So you see how white is gaining a lot of time here. And regardless, white will have this strong pawn. He will have the open b file to attack. He'll have a huge lead in development and a very strong center. So this is something black should not go for. And here I think, for example, a5 is one move, but now you just play b5. and something like this will happen. You can take c3, d4, and again you have a similar structure where white has the center, and this time he has not even sacrificed a pawn. And the other move here could be a6, which is I think somehow more common. And here you just play c3, so you transpose into normal structures, and this is just a normal Italian, guys. This is nothing special. I mean, we're going to look at this later on as well when you consider the main lines, and this is very very common, guys. इसमें बहुत common है ये. White will quickly try to expand on the queen side, and he will at some point also go a5. He will castle, and at the correct moment, first he will maybe play d3. He will develop his knight d2, f1, g3, and at the correct moment he will just go d4 when he feels he has enough control over the position. So this is basically this, and now we can move on to the main lines where black takes, and somehow this is somehow the main lines. I think, of course, black, when he sees this, he'll probably just take, because that makes a lot more sense. Just to kind of reject the capture is not natural, let's say. And of course, black is not known to be very worse here. Yeah, अरे notification नहीं आया. I know लोचा तो है. So Shriyansh, I will ask in the middle. Let more people join in. Right now there are only 7 people, so let more people join in, and I will ask the question. Hi Jeet. So now we come to the main lines, that is when black captures. Now, of course, he's been given a free pawn. There is no clear refutation, so he should, of course, take the pawn, guys. That is very very normal, and he does. Now c3. So what is the point behind this gambit? The point is that white will gain control of the center. So first of all, in this position, both white and black have enough control, and right now, of course, Italian gambit is possible, but technically it's a pawn sacrifice. So you cannot really play d4 without sacrificing a pawn, at least temporarily. So what b4 does is it removes the bishop, and now d4 is possible. Of course, it's pinned right now, and that's what we prevent. So we basically want to put 2 pawns in the center, and we gain some time by doing this. So we play c3. Now here black has many responses. He can play bishop c5, bishop a5, and bishop e7. I think all of these moves are possible, and we look at them one by one. So we need to know what to do in each of these cases, and we start with the move bishop c5, which is, I think, the most logical, because anybody who faces this for the first time, he'll quickly try to play bishop c5 and keep his bishop active, I think. Bishop d6 bhi hai, definitely, we'll come to everything, guys. So bishop c5, and now d4. Of course, white has to take the center, I think. He should. After all, what is the point of sacrificing the pawn if he doesn't? And now takes, and now here, the problem is, if you, for example, play c takes d4, bishop b6, bishop b2, knight f6, e5, knight d5 is also possible, and also knight e4. This is also, I think, pretty possible. But actually, the more interesting line here is castles. So you sacrifice the second pawn as well. But technically, it's not a sacrifice, because I think all of you might know this already. So for example, in this position, d6 is the best move, and knight f6 is also played. But let's say if black were to capture this pawn. So what does white play now, guys? I think this is very simple. So what do you think white plays now? Shriyansh, queen b3 when? When do you mean queen b3? Because castling is more practical, guys. There are more chances for black to go wrong, and that is the basic principle you're playing the opening on, because the more chances your opponent has to go wrong, the better the position is, I think, somehow. And that is why I think castles is the better option. But now if black captures the second pawn, what do you do, guys? Yeah, Aryan, exactly. So, sort of knight c3 would be slow. You can play this, but I think you should first of all capture on f7. This is possible. So king takes f7, queen d5, let's say king f8, queen c5, d6, queen c3, and you win back both your pawns. And of course, you're still a pawn down, but technically the king is on f8, and that provides you more than sufficient compensation here, I think. And that is the idea. Yes, Govinda, bishop f7. Knight g5, let me check. Knight g5, I'm not so sure. Maybe he can play knight h6. Maybe. I think you will pretty much have to go for this again, I think. You will have to go for this. And I think the previous version is the better version because the knight was not developed. We are helping the knight develop somehow and exchange itself off. So we should not help exchange this bad knight on g8, which is not developed. And Shreyash, bishop g5 again. Bishop g5 is okay, but I think somehow here after knight e7, black kind of is prepared to castle, and you also blocked knight g5, queen h5. So I think the better is just to simply capture on f7. That is the easiest, I think, guys. Bishop f7, king f7, queen d5, and you take the couple of pawns. Yes, sort of, exactly. So here, two moves are possible. One is d6, which we'll look at. The other is knight f6. But this is not so good because white simply captures the pawn back. And now he's only one pawn down. And there is no bishop b4 check now also available. So now bishop b6. And you push forward with e5. And here I think if the knight has to move, then you can also push ahead with d5. And this will be crushing for black. So that's why d5 is the only move. But now you simply capture on f6, capture on c4, rook e1 check. And if bishop e6, you capture on g7, rook g8, and now d5, winning the game. Because if queen d5, and there is a pin. So this cannot be captured. So we have to go back. And if let's say he plays after d5, takes dc4, rook e1. If he plays king f8, which is the other move, now you simply play bishop a3 check, king g8, and now d5 pushing forward again, knight a5. And now can anybody find the best move in this position, guys? Can anybody find the best move in this position? There are many moves to win. I think you can even just develop with knight c3 and you should be much, much better. But what is the best move in the position? So what do you think is the best move, guys? It's not a mate. It's not like a mate in 5 moves, but this one very good move here for white. Guys, keep liking the stream, and if you're here for the first time, do subscribe to the channel. Guys, okay, I agree. A couple of moves are good. Queen d5 is not possible, Saurav. It's white to play, and that's why it's not possible. Queen a4 is going in the wrong direction somehow. I think bishop d7, and you're only helping black to develop. So not queen a4. And rook e7 is possible. Rook e7 is possible, but somehow after captures, maybe. Yeah, the game goes on. The game goes on. There's a better move here, guys. That is bishop e7. And yeah, sort of change kar do. That is better. And now queen d7. And now you capture on g7. King takes. And now queen to d2. So you see suddenly black's king is completely open. And this bishop cuts off the black king's escape. Now queen g4 is the only move, I think, here. And now you play queen c3 check. King g8. And now what do you think white should play, guys, in this position? It's white to play. This is a game from the 19th century. So what do you think white should play here? Yes, for bishop e7 is the best move. Harshal, knight e5 could have been played, I think. Yes, it could have been played. But the problem is somehow black can capture this. And we don't want to lose this pawn for free. So maybe I think we should save this pawn, I think. So we are here. What do you think white can play here, guys? भाई अपनी पिक लगा लो यार, अपनी पिक लगा लो. Bishop f6 is possible. Bishop f6 is definitely possible. Maybe bishop f5 and yeah, you're winning. But there's a better move here, guys. Yeah, Satvik, exactly. You play queen h8, king h8 and bishop f6 with rook e8 mate next. So that is the idea. That's the best move. Of course, knight g5 and I think all of these moves should be winning. But just queen h8 is a nice move to kind of play. Yes, Jatin, exactly. This is the best move. Now we come back. So knight f6 is not good, guys. Black should play d6. He should prevent this move e5. That is absolutely compulsory. Yes, Aryan, exactly. Exactly. Yes, Prajwal. Yes, Satvik. So now after d6, you take the pawn, of course, and now bishop b6 because there is nothing to check here. So bishop b6. And now there are many moves actually. You can, for example, you can play h3, you can play knight c3, you can play queen b3, but there are benefits, pros and cons to each move. For example, queen b3, knight a5 is the best move. Bishop f7, king f8, queen d5, and now knight f6, and suddenly white is losing. So here I think after king f, you cannot capture on f7, and if you cannot capture on f7, then it makes less sense to play queen b3. If you play h3, then knight a5, bishop d3, and knight e7, and black has forced your bishop off this diagonal. That's why I'm not a big fan of this. Now knight c3 is a decent move, and now knight a5 again is considered to be the one of the good moves, and knight bishop d3 again, and this is again the problem. You have to move the bishop away, and that's why I would say maybe the best move is actually d5, which is interesting. This bishop is bad now, so I would say it has its pros and cons. So here I think, for example, if knight c7, then you go forward with e5. Yes, Burning Fury, Ivan's Gambit. Siddharth, Ivan's Gambit you're looking at right now. And I think white is definitely better here. So if knight a5, then what do you think white should play here, guys? It's white to play. So what do you think white should play here? Yes, Burning Fury, that's absolutely correct. I think with black, Benko Gambit is one of the best gambits. And with white, Ivan's Gambit is also pretty amazing. You're kind of correct, yes. So what do you think white should play here, guys? Okay, Anshuman says bishop b3, RN says, Harshal says bishop b5, and okay, bishop b2. Yes, guys, bishop b2. You play the move bishop b2. So you do not worry about this bishop, because if knight takes c4, you simply capture on g7 and you win the rook, winning the game. So here I think there are many moves. Many suggestions, guys, but I think bishop b2 is the best. You develop your piece first and then you decide what to do with the bishop on c4. So here I think black has a few moves. If, for example, f6, then you play bishop d3, and of course with knight h4 coming, white is much better. We saw already knight c4, bishop g7. So one move is knight f6, and now you come back, castles, and now you play h3. So this is the idea. You kind of try to limit black's pieces. For example, this knight has nowhere to go. Okay, even here, this bishop does not have anywhere to go. And your pieces are very active. I think you can also prepare e5 at the correct moment, because you can always play e5 here, because that is never a problem. And you also have the open c5. It looks like some sort of good version of the Sicilian with e4, e5, c5, d4, cd4, and c3. That sort of sacrifice. And knight h5, knight c3, now knight f4, knight e2, takes. And if you look at this position, somehow, I think white has enough compensation for a pawn. Why? First of all, this knight will go to g3 or f4. It can even go to h5, putting pressure on g7. And these pieces are completely on the other side of the board, and they cannot come to the king side now. These pieces cannot come to the king side. So this bishop is, of course, stuck here. It cannot go anywhere. It's safe on b6, of course, but it cannot move from b6. Until the bishop is on b6, the knight cannot go anywhere, because if c6, we are not going to capture on c6 and allow the knight to come back. We'll simply allow him to capture with the pawn. So that way, these two pieces are out of the board. This bishop does not have a great square. You can see it has nowhere to go right now. All of these squares are covered. The only square it has is d7, but of course, it does not do much on d7. It's looking at an empty diagonal. It might as well just be on c8. And our minor pieces are just much, much better. If you put up the engine here, I'm sure it will say that it's equal. Maybe black is slightly better. But somehow in this position, I think white's minor pieces are just much, 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 much better. You can see potential here. Even queen c3 is a mate in one threat. So for example, bishop c5 and queen c3 wins on the spot. So that kind of tells you, I mean, the kind of position this is. And once these knights come into play, and it will be very difficult for black to play this. Pratik, with chess base 14, it is, I think it is alt. So I don't know with chess base. It must be the same, I guess. It must be the same. So I think you can try with left alt, I think. So this was knight f6, guys. And after takes, we saw this position, d5, knight a5, bishop b2. And also knight e7 is possible, which is very interesting. Because black kind of allows you to capture on g7 technically. But of course, you cannot. If bishop g7, rook g8, and two pieces are hanging, bishop h3 is coming, so definitely not. So bishop d3 back, and bishop d3 back, and now castles, and now knight c3. So you see, again, the plan is the same. You are going to transfer the knight to the king side. The knight on a5 is stupid. It cannot come back to c6. Now, in fact, even this knight is not so great because it cannot go here. It can go to g6, so maybe it has some potential. But still, white also has one extra knight, one extra bishop. So I think white definitely has more than sufficient compensation for the for the pawn here. And after a move like knight g6, knight e2, bishop g4, knight g3, knight e5, you can play bishop e2, takes. And after knight c4, bishop c3, knight e5, I think the position is kind of equal for black because he has managed to bring up the, let's say, the knight here. But I think still white will go on. He will move the queen somewhere. He will try to maybe at some point go king h1, f4. He will go rook a e1. And you can see how white has this majority on the king side. And knight is coming to f5. It cannot be stopped now. Black does not have a light square bishop. And white definitely has sufficient compensation for the pawn. Anshuman, this is the best system for black actually. These are the best move for black. But the point is that even the best moves provide white with an attacking position. That just means that it's very dynamic. Both sides have their chances. And if let's say black is you're playing as black, then you have to be careful about white's attacking chances. You have to try to exchange pieces, hold on to your extra pawn. If you are white, you'll get to attack, you'll get to put your pieces on the king side, knight to f5, knight to h5, and you'll basically try to, let's say, attack on the king side. You'll be a pawn down, so you have to play energetically. So basically, bishop e5, I am not so sure, guys. Bishop e5, d5, I think this is good for black because now he can just play g6 and he doesn't have to worry about these dark squares. So until the bishop is on c3, he cannot play g6 with immunity because queen e2 and f4 after king h1, and suddenly this bishop is a monster. So you should not give up that bishop, guys. Yeah, Jackpot Gaming, yes. Yes, Pratik. So now we go back, and this was basically, let's say, bishop c5, and now we move on to the next one. There are many moves for many moves for black here, so we have to cover all of them. Give me a moment. Okay, so now bishop e7, and this is known to be another system for black. So we come up with the starting moves, and b4 takes c3, and previously we saw bishop c5. But if I think even Anand has played bishop e7 here, so this is of course a normal move. And now you play d4. Of course, you should play in the center. This is the point you have kind of played the Ivan's Gambit. And here black has a few moves. Knight a5 is considered to be the best move, I think. And for example, if you play d6, then I think this is also technically possible, but maybe queen b3 is a move here, which black has to consider. For example, knight a5, then bishop f7, king f8, and queen a4. And this is a sort of position where both sides again have their chances. But I would say, of course, white should be fine, considering that he has the center and black's king is on f7. So white definitely has his own chances. And this would not be something black should opt for. So I think knight a5 is the best move in this position. Yes, Pratik, we can do that. We can do that. We can do that. That is also possible. And now bishop e2 and d6 is one move, but I think the main move is c takes d4. Queen takes d4 is something you can play because the queen is very active now. For example, if you play c takes d4, it is possible, but now d5 is the problem. And suddenly, because the bishop is not on c4, black can play this move, and it kind of equalizes, because if you have to capture, then queen takes, and you have this isolated pawn, and suddenly black will quickly develop his pieces, castle, and play rook d8 and put pressure on d4. So that's why maybe not this. And queen d4 is the best, I think, here. So you put pressure immediately, you prevent d5, and you are going to develop pieces very quickly, guys. So now here, if for example you play d6, then queen g7, bishop f6, queen g3, knight e7, and now bishop g5, and white is definitely slightly better because black's king side is open, and black cannot even castle on the queen side because the b file is also open. So it will always be risky for black. This knight is still stuck. It will take a move to come back to the game, and white is ready to castle on the king side. Bishop f6, e5 here. I'm not so sure about this because yeah, it kind of let's say if you have to capture this, then rook g8, and you're wasting a lot of time here. You can see how g2 is already hanging. Of course, not right now, but maybe black can capture this, and play knight back. Again, another free move for black. It is giving too many free moves to black, guys, I think. So not this. It is bishop g5 and preparing to castle next. Harshal, I would recommend, I would again recommend the book, Gelfer's Positional Handbook. If you have not seen that, you should definitely check that out first, and then move on to other books like Pump Up Your Rating and Silman's Course and all of those. And in this position, I think d5 is an interesting move. So d5 is considered to be, let's say, a pawn sacrifice, where black tries to remove this strong pawn, and he tries to simply develop his pieces so that there is no e5 for white. So e takes d5, knight f6, c4, castles, b6, bishop b2, and again you have this position where the queen is developed towards black's king side. You can play rook d1, knight c3. Again, this knight is the problem. Here at least it has some path to come into the game, but still I think white should be perfectly fine here. And maybe let's say the best move is actually c6, trying to remove one of these pawns. Knight c3, bishop c5. You don't go back to d2. You play queen f4. We will, Anshuman, we'll do that. We'll also cover gambits from black side. And that is also, of course, part of the menu, I guess. Knight h5. And now queen c1. So bishop a6. And now here, I think the best move is actually dc6, preparing to put your knight on d5. But in one game, actually, knight e5 was played, where black actually equalized after a move like bishop d6, because there is some pressure here. After all, knight c6, queen h4, and black is going to sacrifice everything, and he managed to draw this game with a perpetual like this. But I think there was a better move. Here, I think the best move was simply to capture on c6 first, not play knight e5 and weaken your king side. And you now have this strong pawn on c6. So let's say black captures, and now you play rook d1, and the queen moves to e7, and now you play bishop d3 or bishop f1, and you have this very strong square on d5. The bishop will open up, and this knight is still stranded. Knights are a problem for black here, guys. Saurabh Krit का नहीं पता मुझे. Yes, Burning Fury. We can discuss the Benko Gambit as well. Definitely. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Just a moment. Okay, so yeah. So now bishop a5 is supposed to be one of the good responses for black, actually. And this is supposed to be one of the great moves for black. Anshuman, it depends on the position. Also the personal preference and the position, both of them actually dictate that, I think, somehow. So you have to with your experience you will understand which piece is better for which position. If let's say there are a lot of open diagonals, then bishop would be better. If the pawns are locked in like this, and in that case knights can hop on to squares but bishops can't. So it depends on the position, I think. So now e4 e5, and we move on to this position, and here black plays bishop a5, which is another response for black, and you again play d4, guys. You don't worry about anything else. And here black has many responses. The best move is supposed to be d6, not trying to capture the second pawn. But let's say if black captures it. Now what do you play as white, guys? What does white play here? What do you think white can play here, guys? So you have sacrificed the second pawn, guys. You're 2 pawns down. You have to move fast. So what do you think white can play? Yeah, exactly. You play the move queen b3, and you attack f7 again. You don't want to. You can even like not care about the pawns anymore. That is the idea here. And I think, for example, queen f6. Now you castle, and in this position, for example, if black were to capture this pawn, you play bishop g5, queen g6, and now knight c3. And somehow it's very difficult for black to get his pieces out. For example, imagine the move knight e7. Now, okay, so let's keep this position as the mod puzzle. So what do you think white plays here, guys? And what is the idea behind that move? What do you think white plays here? The one to answer this correctly will get the mod next. So what do you think white plays here, guys? The one to answer this will get the mod, guys. So try to come up with the correct one. Yeah, Pratik, they are. Aryan, what is the point of knight d5? Um, what is the point behind this move? If I castle, castle simply loses a piece actually. But let's say I play. Let me think. Okay. So guys, knight d5. If I play f6, what do you think white can play here? What do you think white plays here? I think we have many knight d5s, and that is the correct move. So we have to, let's say, go down a funnel and quickly find the person who will be the mod. So we have to disqualify some people. So what do you think white can play here now, guys? So black just wants to develop his pieces. He blocks the bishop. So what does white play now? हाँ सौरभ विजय f7 तो नहीं है unfortunately. Okay, Rn says knight c7. Knight takes e7. Okay. Okay, Sonali says knight c7. Okay, Pratik. So guys, let's look at one by one. Knight c7 doesn't work, of course, because of bishop c7 and black is winning. He's just a piece up. And good afternoon, Sonali. Glad you're here. After knight e7, I think white has lost its advantage because black has now kind of equalized and you have to move the bishop. Let's say you bring it back and now simply move like b6, bishop b7 and even queenside castles. And black's position looks preferable to me because his pieces are very solid and the only advantage white has is open diagonal, but because black is not planning to castle kingside, it's not a serious problem for black. And that's why it's not good enough. So unfortunately, all the suggestions are wrong. Pratik says knight f4, but knight f4 ki apni problem hai Pratik, that is queen takes e4. And you can continue like this. For example, bishop takes, rook takes, and this does look interesting. But here there is actually one problem. For example, queen f5 maybe. And suddenly it's not clear. I mean, you have sacrificed a lot of material. Knight d5, king d8, protecting c7 here. And the game goes on, guys. I do not see a finishing blow for white here. So maybe not. So unfortunately, knight f4 doesn't work. Hi, Krit. Rajkumar, knight takes f6 would not work because g takes f6 and there is nothing here because black king is perfectly safe. The queen protects the pawn. So it will just be a piece gone for free. So there's a better move here, guys. Knight f5, I mean you mean knight f4, Shreyansh, I think. That doesn't work because of queen takes e4. And black fights on. There's a much better move here, guys. Much better move. Knight h4 would not be any different. In fact, this looks worse because queen takes g5 and suddenly you lose a piece. So not this. सोचो भाई, सोचो बेस्ट मूव क्या होगी. व्हाइट के पास क्या क्या थ्रेट्स हैं एंड ब्लैक ने कैसे डिफेंड किया हुआ है उन थ्रेट्स के अगेंस्ट एंड हाउ कैन यू रिमूव द डिफेंडर्स ऑफ दैट थ्रेट. Yes, Dhaval, you are absolutely correct. Bishop to d2. So the idea is the bishop protects on c7. We want to capture on c7. So we play bishop d2 so that black has to trade. So now if bishop b6, now we play knight f4, queen takes e4 and bishop d3. And you see the queen बिचारी वो तो फंसी हुई है यार हर जगह से. So here the best move is actually bishop d2, but now you capture on c7. So that is the idea and the king has to move already and you can always capture this later. For example, king d8 and here of course you can capture on 8. That is perfectly fine, but you can also include moves like this and let's say queen can it go here? Yeah, and then knight takes a8. So this also limits the queen a little bit. And now white will play rook d1 and you can see how the king is right opposite the rook and this is completely lost for black. So that means Dhaval is going to be the next mod, guys. So Dhaval को बना देते हैं. सौरभ possible था analyze करना. Definitely possible था. Because after all, because you can say कि like it's not completely out of the blue because you can see कि white का threat है knight c7. White really wants to play knight c7 here, right? In this position, you want to play knight c7. You want to give a fork, but you can't unfortunately because the bishop protects it. So तुम्हें bishop हटाना है. How do you move the bishop? Bishop d2. And the bishop has to capture and then you capture on c7. So at least दिमाग में आएगी तो move for sure. Queen b5 का purpose मुझे समझ नहीं आया here. I think I can capture this. And I can also play a6. Just pushing the queen back. Yeah. I'm not sure about this. Hi Alpheus. कृत भाई बुरा क्यों फील हो रहा है? धवल ओपी डेफिनेटली गाइस. बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया हुआ कृत. प्रैंक कॉल हर बार काम नहीं करती. बिशप f3 is not possible, Sonali. f3 square ये है. I think you mean some bishop e3, I guess. Bishop e3 is possible, guys. Bishop e3 is possible. This is a normal move. I think this can be played. this can be played. But I think the best move in the position is definitely bishop d2. I think if not bishop d2, then bishop e3 would be best. Exactly धवल, exactly. कृत तुम तो मॉड हो यार, तो हर जगह मॉड हो यार, उसमें तो कोई चक्कर ही नहीं है. सुपर मॉड को मॉड की जरूरत नहीं होती. This was, guys, okay, so we saw e takes d4 with queen b3, and now there is a move d6, which is the main move here. And here I would say d5 bishop g4 is very complicated, so let's just go for queen b3 again, which makes a lot more sense to again attack f7, and black has to defend now. And if, for example, queen e7, which looks like the most logical move, then white plays d5. He tries to push the knight. If knight b8, queen a4 wins the piece for free. So knight d4 is the only move. And you take on d4, basically. Pawn takes, and you castle, guys. So again, we are going for development. You can see white is not worried about pawns here. And he's not trying to... Yes, we'll show a gambit from black side as well. Definitely. Yes, we are only making one mod, guys. One mod for every 100 subscribers. So I think for now we are done. I think the is the next mod. We will do it again at 1250 subscribers. Yes, Kritivan's gambit. So now you just have to answer a puzzle. For example, the one I asked right now. And the one to answer it would be the mod. Yeah, I'll mention it, guys. Pratik, I'll mention that. So if, for example, now you go queen a4, king d8, now queen a5, queen e4, king f1, and d3. And you see there is, well, there are too many threats. Mate ka threat to hai hi, bishop pe bhi threat hai. So I think bishop e3 khelna padega, but then black can just capture. So that's why it doesn't work. So I just answer the puzzle whenever we have 1250 subscribers next, and you can just answer the puzzle, and that way you will have a chance. So this was this. Queen e7, d5, I think we saw most of this, and we saw castles. And now I think here black has to decide if he captures the pawn. We capture, pawn takes, queen takes, and I think this is just completely better for white. Knight f6, for example, and now you can play rook e1, and if he castles, you play e5, and this is just completely better for white. And for example, e5, pawn takes. What does white play here, guys? I think it's very simple, but what does white play? You need to notice this pattern as well. Saurabh, acha. Sonali, next will be at 1250 subscribers. We are at 1160, so 90 subscribers later, we'll have the next mod. We might have one bullet tournament, Jaykant, after we finish Ivan's Gambit. We might have that. But after we finish the Ivan's Gambit, then. Yes, Shreyansh, exactly. So this is something you have to keep in mind. This can often happen because you have given up your B pawns. So ये चीज भूलना black से बहुत आसान है. You can forget about this and suddenly white is completely winning. So this is one thing. So black cannot capture, guys. He has to play bishop b6. And now you play bishop b5 check. Bishop d7, takes, c takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen b7, rook c8, and bishop b2. And again, we reach a similar position, takes, and black has to play knight f6, you play knight c3. And this position material is even. You have control over the b file. I think black can castle here. And now, of course, white is clearly better, guys. Even queen b7, just attacking this pawn. I find it hard to believe that black is equalized here. You can also wait. You can play moves like f3. You can play moves like rook a c1, putting pressure on the c7 pawn. Agar ye rook c6 pe aa gaya, to game over hi ho jayegi. So with this, definitely white is better. Alphys, okay, we'll do that. Satvik, we did not. We had a short stream yesterday at 7:30 p.m. We did not stream at night yesterday. So this was this line with bishop a5 and then queen e7. So after queen b3, I think queen d7 is the best move. And here you just capture on e5. So how did we reach here? Again, to kind of revise. So c3, bishop a5, d4, and now d6, and queen b3, And now queen d7 is the best move, I think, for black. But white does not play d5 now, because now there is a clear square for the knight on e7. And of course, there is no queen a4 check as well now. You can see these two elements have been removed for white, and that's why white just captures on e5. Now, black's best move is actually bishop b6. If black captures, white castles, bishop b6, rook d1, queen e7, and bishop b5. And there are other moves as well, by the way, but I think this sequence would do fine. And you're putting a lot of pressure on black because bishop g5 can come, bishop a3 can come, knight d2, knight c4, and somehow black's pieces, for example, what will black play? Let's say knight f6, and now bishop a3 again, and black can't even castle, guys. He can't even castle. So with the king in the center, of course, black cannot hope to be equal. So that is the idea here. d5, here bishop b5 is not so strong. Black can play c6, takes and takes, and suddenly bishop has to go back. And I like black's position. He's a pawn up. He has the center advantage. I would say black is borderline winning here, guys. So d5 here is not good because black has the square on e7 for the knight, and also because there is no queen a4 check to kind of pick up the piece now. So that's why d5 is better. Alphys, yes, mod. Alphys, we are having puzzles after every 100 subscribers, जहाँ पे एक puzzle के answer पे I'm going to make one person moderator on the channel. So वो चीज़ अब अभी के लिए खत्म हो गई, but we'll be back again with 1 to 5 subscribers, तब फिर से करेंगे. So guys, this was bishop a5 and we saw d6, queen b3. So keep this idea in mind with queen b3. I think this is very, very common, and bishop a5 is one of the good moves for black. So here too, white can try to take advantage. And by the way, we saw queen e7 and we saw queen d7. Also, knight d4 is a move here. And now don't capture on f7 because after king f8, both pieces are attacked. Just kind of play knight takes d4, pawn takes d4, and castles. Again, we reach a similar position where pawn takes, and for example, bishop f7 is possible, knight c3 is possible, e5 is possible, and I think black will probably end up defending this somehow, maybe queen e7. But now he has to be careful of queen a4 and he pick up the piece. So there's always tactics going on in the Ivan's Gambit, always, and you have to take care, guys. Alphys mod does nothing they kind of moderate the chat. They have the option of giving timeouts to people. That is the only benefit, I think. So now we go to the next option for black, guys. This is, of course, a long gambit. I think there was one more thing I had to show you. Just a moment. Yeah, just quickly mention this. Yeah, so we saw queen b3 here, guys, but one more thing to keep in mind is that you have other options. For example, not in this line. Just a moment. I pulled up the wrong file. Okay, and yeah, so I think we are okay now. We go back. Yeah, so here, that's amazing, Sonali. So now d6, and here we saw that queen b3 was possible, but we should also look at other moves. So let's quickly look at them. And yeah, so here also d4, for example, but then black plays d6 and you can kind of play queen b3 now. That is also a possibility. It might just transpose. Another option here is castle. So if you are playing as black and white plays this, so I'm not going to recommend playing this, but as black, you should know what to do. So let's flip the board. And now you play d6. So we play d6. And this is the move you should always play first because it kind of protects your pawn. It allows this bishop to come into play and it kind of helps you. Chalo white se hi dekhte hain. And now d4. And now the best move for black is bishop to g4. So you're using these two they are two bad pieces for black, of course, but he will try to develop this piece and put some pressure on the center, because if this pawn goes, then suddenly all of black's pieces will be well placed. So that is the entire idea for black. First day at work. Yeah, Dhaval. So now, here I think there are many moves. For example, queen b3, bishop f3, takes here, takes, and the game goes on. But the best move probably here, also bishop b5 is possible, but the best move probably is queen a4. And now bishop f3, and now gf3, cd4, cd4, and a6. If, for example, black were to play something like knight f6, d5 is winning a piece, of course, there's a pin here, so a6 is the only move. And now bishop to d5. So knight e7, you protect the knight, and bishop to c6 now for white. So the thing is, you have to capture this. If you play something like bishop e3, then I think b5 and black will capture your bishop. So you have to capture on c6, knight takes, and now d5. And this was actually played in a world champion, I think it was a candidates match or something in 1892. Anshuman does weaken the king, but somehow if black's pieces are here, they cannot take advantage of it. And of course, white can also use the g5 later on for his attack. So it's kind of a double-edged position. And now black had to play d5, b5, which he missed, I think. But now queen a3, and what do you think black should play now, guys? It's black to play. Try to find what should black play in this position. I'm going to mention two moves. One is knight d4, one is knight b4. So one of these moves is good for black and one of these moves is bad for black. Venkatesh, I think we should know about this, because somehow if you play c3, d4 and you don't know about these systems, you will learn certain, because this can also transpose into c3, d4, by the way. And I think we should know about this somehow. I cannot imagine learning e4, e5 without knowing the gambits, because you will face it sometimes as black, and sometimes you will also like to change your opening style and opening variations. So I think it's always good to know these gambits. You will learn some patterns which will also be useful in that. Yeah, guys, knight d4 is the good move here. So in the game, knight b4 was played, and after queen f5, white was lost. Black was lost, because knight c2, now queen c3, attacking g7, and knight takes a7, queen takes g7, rook f8, and now simply bishop h6, and black is losing here. So knight d4 was the move, and after queen f5, queen f6, queen a3, b4, queen a4, king f8, knight d2, knight e2. This is a long variation. Queen a1, queen c6, rook e8, queen c4, knight c1, rook c1, queen f6, queen b4, and g6. And this is kind of a forced variation almost. And that is why I think we should not go for castles, because of this variation. And we should actually go for queen b3. I just wanted to mention this briefly. So if, for example, here bishop a5 is played, I would recommend going for queen b3. You put immediate pressure on your opponent. Yeah, it's undefended, but black has his own counterplay on the king side. Satvik, we saw that queen c3 will come. If knight c2, just queen c3. and white captures on g7. So guys, this was a brief introduction to the Ivan's Gambit. If anybody wants to look at it in detail, they can go to the stream again if somebody missed it. We covered all of Black's responses, I think, at least the most prominent ones. And this was a brief introduction. Now we'll have a short tournament on chess, on Lee Chess, let's say. Let's have it on... Acha, I think Krit banned hai. So let's have it on chess.com, I guess. And किस पे करना है यार? chess.com पे करना है कि Lee Chess पे करना है? Let's have a short tournament. Sonali, Simul में 3 minutes blitz नहीं हो सकता because I won't have enough time. Okay, Lee Chess, chess.com, 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 Lee Chess. एक ही बंदा ली चेस लिख रहा है सौरभ. मुझे लगा 3 लोग एक सेकंड के लिए. ओके, ली चेस. Yes, Sonali, we'll have a bullet tournament. Okay, let's have it on Lee Chess, guys. Let's have it on Lee Chess because I think Alpheus ने पहले ही बोला था. So let's have it on Lee Chess. Very quickly. Let me adjust the screen, guys. Okay. Yes, Amit, she is my friend. Yes. Kritless tournament. चलो यार चलो कम कर देते हैं यार. हाँ, चलो कम कर दे. चलो ठीक है यार, कर देते चलो कम. ठीक है, तो गाइस चलो कम पे कर लेते हैं. Let's have it at 35, I guess. 35 पे रखते हैं ताकि जल्दी हो जाए. We'll have 9 rounds maybe. 9 rounds is fine. And 14, 35. 6 minutes में. Great. So I have created the tournament, guys. You can join in. I am putting the link. please, chess. नहीं अमित फ्रेंड है. क्यों भाई क्यों पूछ रहे हो? रुको Aryan, we had opening on we looked at Ivan's Gambit today, and Ivan's Gambit खत्म करने के बाद we are playing a short tournament on chess.com. अरे भाई Alpheus, मैंने क्या किया भाई? अरे Alpheus, Krit cannot play on Lee Chess. That's why we are playing on chess.com. Alpheus क्यों हो आर्यन क्यों हो रहा है? मतलब टूर्नामेंट होने का कोई कारण थोड़ी होता है. गाइस, यू कैन जॉइन इन. टूर्नामेंट स्टार्ट्स इन 5 minutes. जल्दी से ज्वाइन कर लो यार. भाई Alpheus वो खेल नहीं सकता ना. 1 person cannot play on Lee Chess, so that's why. अभी वेंकटेश 30 seconds करते हैं. वी हैव स्टार्टेड. लेट्स कीप इट 30 seconds. ओके अमित. Alpheus triggered, guys. Alpheus, Krith cannot play on leeches, so that's why. अब मुझे पता नहीं कि why can't you play on chess.com? Yeah, Alpheus, we only doing it because he can't play on leeches. That is the only reason we're doing this. हम कल लीचेस उसमें लीचेस में भी कर सकते हैं. Okay, Venkatesh. Okay. Let me join in. Great. Double, I did not win the last time, by the way. I did not win the last time. हाँ होगी, सात्विक होगी, डेफिनेटली होगी. अल्फेस खेल लो, कोई बात नहीं. अगर स्लो डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएगा तो कोई बात नहीं, छोड़ देना टूर्नामेंट. खेलने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. यू कैन ट्राई. एजॉन, ये मुझे भी नहीं पता. आई हैव नॉट फेस दैट प्रॉब्लम एवर, सो आई डोंट नो हाउ डज दैट हैपन. अल्फियस चिल करो भाई, चिल चिल. Guys, do like the stream, and if you're for the first time, do subscribe. And जल्दी से join कर लो यार टूर्नामेंट very quickly, because फिर start होने वाला है. It is going to start very soon. This is the link. जैसे चार चना छोला नहीं होता, इसी प्रकार हर चश्मा वाला वो. सौरभ भाई, कुछ भी कुछ भी मतलब मेक्स नो सेंस. गाइस, 9 राउंड है, 9 तो प्लेयर ही है. अच्छा, ज़्यादा प्लेयर हो गए, अब 10 हो गए. राउंड कम हो जाएंगे, आई थिंक अपने आप कम हो जाएंगे वो. करिए, तभी हमने कर दिया ऑर्गेनाइज. अब नेक्स्ट टाइम करेंगे नीचे इसमें. Alphys, it will take time. It will take time. That's why we are not doing on leeches. उसमें टाइम लगेगा उसको क्रिएट करने में. So next time we have it, we'll have it on leeches. So okay, let's see. Aryan का opinion is more straightforward. Krit and Aryan agree on something. That is rare. अरे भाई, सोल्यूशन कहाँ है अल्फियस? टूर्नामेंट स्टार्ट हो रहा है 1 मिनट में. आई थिंक राउंड्स अपने आप कम हो जाएंगे. दे विल बी लाइक, आई थिंक 5 राउंड्स और 4 राउंड, समथिंग लाइक दिस, इतने ही होंगे आई थिंक, कंसिडरिंग नंबर ऑफ प्लेयर्स. आयुष्य भी छोड़ देगा. 9 प्लेयर 9 राउंड, राउंड रॉबिन. अच्छा, 11 हो गए. चलो, एक और आ गया. चलो, लेट्स सी गाइस. किसकी प्रिया मेंबरशिप सोनाली? किसकी? Yes, Ambrish, Dhaval got the puzzle right, and he is the next mod. Yes. Okay, so it starts in 5 seconds, guys. Good luck. Okay, पहला ही वेंक चेस से लग गया. 5 rounds. That makes sense. Castle on the. Okay, now I'm not so sure of castling on the queen side, but okay, let's just develop. Ooh, I blundered my queen. Very clever, very clever. I am also clever, unfortunately for Venkatesh. Good game, Venkatesh. Good game. Krit. Yeah, I don't know if you managed to solve it, guys. I don't know. I really don't know. लो भाई फिर से मुलाकात हुई. दिस इज हिलेरियस गाइस. रोक ही दे दिया. वाह भाई ये क्या है. क्या है ये, क्यों है ये. गुड गेम आर्यन, गुड गेम. पता नहीं लंच कौन सी ओपनिंग थी, पता नहीं, पता नहीं. गाइस somehow it's all about psychology as well. तुम्हें गेस करना है ओपोनेंट क्या मूव चल सकता है पहले. If you can guess that, then you will have good chances actually, because you can guess the moves prior and you can easily move the pieces, I think. Good game, Dhawal. Good game. Very close. Remove the hippo system. Okay. Oh, Aryan, I'm playing Krit now. Hi, Shreyash. Okay. Ooh, close. Okay, good game, Krit. Yeah, Divya. I agree, but I have not learned. Okay, I can play e4 in the next game if I get white. But I've not learned it completely, so I think still. एल्फिस भाई सेंटी मत तो भाई, इतना थोड़ी होता है यार. Yeah, Shreyash. चलो ठीक है, next time I'll play e4 because I've not seen everything, guys. I have not prepared everything. e4 is very very um अच्छा, होम मेट मतलब वो भी सिटीजन के अगेंस्ट. गुड गेम प्रतीक. यस एजन काइंड ऑफ. वायरस था. चलो गुड गेम्स धवल एंड चार्मिंग कॉस. चलो मजा आया. एंड मेरी रेटिंग भी 19 से पहुंचने वाली है फाइनली. वन मोर क्या? आई डोंट नो गाइस, अभी बहुत कम लोग हैं. इट्स नॉट फन इफ इट्स नॉट इनफ पीपल, तो मजा नहीं आता. वी कैन हैव दैट लेटर. रात तो कर ही सकते हैं, रात को तो करेंगे ही. क्या लिखा है श्रेयांश की बायो में? 15 से करीना. अरे नहीं यार, इतना बुलेट मत खेलो, इतना बुलेट मत खेलो यार. ठीक है, आई अंडरस्टैंड फॉर फन वन टूर्नामेंट, बट ठीक है, नॉवल भी खेलना चाहिए. मैंने क्या चीटिंग करी भाई? हाँ मतलब फोम मेट करा दूं अपनी कुछ भी. हाँ ये अमरीश, आई गॉट इट ये. या टैब से खेलना मुश्किल है कहीं डेफिनेटली. माउस से इट्स इजियर टू रिमूव, समहाउ इट्स मच इजियर. अल्फियस भाई चिल करो यार, शाम को और खेलेंगे, डोंट वरी. अल्फ अल्फ वेंकटेश, आर्ट ऑफ अटैक बुक तो तुम्हें कहीं ना कहीं से ऐसी मिल जाएगी. यू विल गेट इट फॉर फ्री आई थिंक. किसी दोस्त से मांग लो. आई डोंट हैव इट आई थिंक माई सेल्फ, बट many people might have it, तो पूछ लो किसी फ्रेंड से. You should be able to find the PDF essay without paying because it's an old book I think. And Nagda, of course, I think Girika, if you're mentioning, it's very expensive, right? I think it's very expensive. अच्छा, $29 ही है क्या? कौन बोल रहा था $60 है? ठीक तो है यार, $29 में क्या है? दैट इज फाइन नो. Yeah, $30 is fine. इसके लिए तो this is fine guys. $30 पे तो it's absolutely amazing. This is fine. But I think somehow without videos, इट विल नॉट बी सो इंस्ट्रक्टिव समहाउ, वो चीज़ तो प्रॉब्लम है, बट ऑफ कोर्स $150 कौन देगा यार, पागल थोड़ी है। Yeah, it's too high. It's too high, guys. It's too high. At least for the Indian audience, it's very high. I can't afford this, of course. This is not possible. या बुक तो PDF तो आराम से मिल जाएगा, आई एम श्योर। कोर्स ऑन स्कॉलर्स में कर सकते हैं भाई, डॉलर से तो कर सकते हैं, बट ऑनली थिंग इसकी इतना ज़्यादा है डॉलर्स में कि आई डोंट थिंक मैनी पीपल विल बाय दिस, मेक्स नो सेंस। और जो 2 घंटे की वीडियो होगी, इट मस्ट बी द बेसिक पार्ट, लाइक जो हर किसी को पता ही होगा, सो दैट विल बेसिकली बी यूजलेस, आई थिंक। इट विल बेसिकली इट्स जस्ट द PGN फॉर लेट्स से $30, तो इवन दैट डज नॉट साउंड टू अपीलिंग टू मी नाउ, कंसिडरिंग कि इसमें 23 घंटे की वीडियो है, इसमें 2 घंटे की वीडियो है। सो आई नो कि द मेन स्टफ विल बी इन दिस, so that they can tease you to kind of buy the full course. So obviously, yes, it's just the PGN for $30, guys. बोलो भाई रोहित। श्रेयास को देख सकते हैं, अब मैं E4 करा रहा हूँ तो भाई D4 उस पर D5 खेल दो ब्लैक से। वेंकटेश डायरेक्ट कार्ड से होगा यार, आई एम श्योर। या कुछ लॉग इन करना है इसमें, फिर पे करना है। इतना हाई रख रहे हैं यार, दिस इज इनसेन। $150। वेरी हाई गाइज, वेरी हाई। या समझ गया आर्यन, समझ गया। बहुत महंगा यार, बहुत महंगा। I mean, of course, I would personally like to see this, but it's too expensive somehow. $150 is too high. Yeah. हाँ रोहित, अब आईफोन के बदले गिरी का कोर्स लेना पड़ेगा किडनी बेच के। क्रेज भाई, अब जीमेल का भी बताऊं क्या? हाँ प्रतीक, अगर ऐसा हो गया तो कमाल ही हो जाएगा। कहेगा भाई ये लो, ये तो मेरी मजे ले रहे हैं। यार रवीश, मॉड पजल हो गया, एंड धवल इज द न्यू मॉड। या अम्बरीश, आई नो, आई नो, आई नो, आई सॉ दैट। 300 USD, रियली? कैरो कैन कोई खेलता भी है क्या इतना 300 USD के लिए? चेसुल वाले लूट रहे हैं क्या? वो समझ नहीं आ रहा यार, दिस इज जस्ट इनसेन। हम्म। यार रोहित, बन तो गया, बिकॉज मैंने प्रॉमिस किया था कि मतलब आज दिन में बनाऊंगा, एंड या दिस इज बिजनेस, तो जाओ। $300 किसका है कैरो कैन का कोर्स यार? $300 का इतना क्या है इसमें? हाँ। कोई प्राइस से अरेंज करने का तो ऑप्शन ही नहीं है इसमें। कौन है भाई $300 वाला, जरा देखूं मैं। कहाँ है यार, दिख ही नहीं रहा। कैरो कैन सर्च करता हूँ, रुको। हाँ, कैरो कैन कहाँ है, दिख ही नहीं रहा। नहीं, 150 है तो। 150 है यार, 150 है एरमिन लामी का कैरो कैन, इट्स 150, इट्स नॉट 300। मे बी दे रिड्यूस्ड इट। Yes, Yusuf, I will. Thanks, I will. Content छीन लिया. Sorry, भाई रोहित. Yeah, Ravish, I think 50% discount tells you कि actual worth उसकी क्या है. They can afford a 50% discount पूरे time. वो तो सिर्फ नाम का है. It's actual price भी इसका. Yeah, it's too high, guys. It's too high. Too high. यहाँ पे कोई IM है. I don't know who is IM. And उस IM का कोर्स भी $150 है. Like who would play. कहाँ गया वो? यहीं कहीं था ना. भाई एफएम का कोर्स लिटरली. एफएम मेरे से 22 पॉइंट ऊपर है. यहाँ पे $100 का कोर्स है एफएम का. कैन यू इमेजिन दैट गाइस? एफएम का कोई एफएम. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि ही इज अ बैड और एनीथिंग, बट अमेजिंग आई एम होगा. आई डोंट नो आई एम है कि एफएम है, क्या है. कुछ तो लिखा था. हाँ, एक आई एम एफएम का कोर्स है. लाइक मतलब $100 का. पागल हो गए हो क्या? भाई मतलब हद ही है. छोड़ो. रोहित, हाँ आई थिंक ऐसे ही. अब आईफोन के बदले किसी के कोर्स लेने पड़े हैं किडनी बेच के. चोर बाजार में. आर्यन, मैंने लंदन पे पूरा रिकॉर्ड नहीं किया एक्चुअली यार, क्योंकि द थिंग इज कि मुझे नॉर्मल कोर्स भी अपडेट करना था. उसका भी टाइम नहीं मिल पा रहा. बिकॉज प्रणाली ग्राफी से बहुत बिजी है. उनका ग्राफी इस महीने के एंड तक चल रहा है, सो मुझे वो भी करना है अपडेट. तो लंदन का मैंने होल्ड पे डाल दिया बिकॉज मैं खुद E4 खेलने का प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ. सो वो कभी ना कभी तो आएगा, श्योर, डेफिनेटली. लेकिन उसका प्राइस में भी इट वॉन्ट बी मोर देन लाइक, या तो आई डोंट नो, डिपेंड करता है मैं कितना डेप्थ में चाहता हूँ. या तो 499 होगा या 999 होगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द डेप्थ. कि मतलब आई थिंक इवन 499 ही होगा मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली, आई डोंट नो. तो $150. भाई साहब, कितना यार, कितना लूट रहे हैं. नहीं भाई, मेरा कोर्स भी कोई इतना आई मीन प्रमोट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. वो तो आई मीन हद ही है यार, मतलब इतना $150. हाँ हाँ, सौरभ, आई नो टॉर्नामेंट से मिलती है वो कस्पारोव की डीवीडी. वो पहले टेस्ट टेस्ट टॉर्नामेंट्स भी देते थे, बाद में बैन कर दिया था उन्होंने. हाँ, बिकॉज इट्स इलीगल टेक्निकली. जब मैं बचपन में था तो मैंने खुद ली थी वो कस्पारोव की डीवीडी 200 रुपये में. उस टाइम 100 रुपये में देते थे. मैंने खुद ली थी वो. हाँ, तो जाओ डेफिनेटली. दिल्ली के. अच्छा. प्रतीक, आई डोंट नो, मे बी डिड नॉट वर्क फॉर देम. उन्होंने स्ट्रीमिंग ट्राई किया, डिड नॉट वर्क, उनको रिस्पॉन्स नहीं मिला. सो दे शिफ्टेड टू ग्राफी. एंड ग्राफी इज मोर सो लेट्स से एक पूरा वो है, मतलब इट्स नॉट जस्ट चेस. इट्स जस्ट लाइक पूरा एक्सटेंसिव है उनका. इट्स नॉट जस्ट चेस. तो उन्होंने पूरा उसमें काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं. ऑफकोर्स उनकी व्यूज़ सिर्फ चेस के ही आ रहे हैं अभी, बिकॉज दे इन्वॉल्व समय समहाउ. बट सो दे प्लान टू यूज चेस का जो पॉपुलैरिटी है टू काइंड ऑफ प्रमोट अदर कंटेंट इज वेल, आई थिंक. निहाल तो हर जगह चलता रहता है यार, वो तो आ गई है हर जगह. Yeah. I mean, it's too much, guys. It's too much. Like I wish it was slightly cheaper. Like Anish ka course, how much would I maximum pay for it? I don't know. Because guys, you can see chess में से कितना सस्ता था. We saw कि 1100 रुपये की. Like of course इसका कंटेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है as compared to let's say जो chess based की DVDs हैं, उसमें I think it's only 6-7 hours of content. तो technically it's much better. But of course it cannot be like more than 10 times the value. तो वो कोई पे नहीं करेगा. हमें इस टूर्नामेंट बाद में करेंगे बिकॉज आई थिंक मज़ा नहीं आता है कम लोगों में. विल हैव इट एट नाइट जब ज़्यादा लोग होते हैं. ये 5 राउंड में फिर वो मज़ा भी नहीं आता. विल हैव इट लेटर. आई थिंक बार बार भी करते हो तो फिर वैल्यू खत्म हो जाती है. विल डू इट लेटर गाइस. स्टडी एंड पजल. स्टडी इज समथिंग जो नॉर्मल एक्चुअल गेम में 99% कभी नहीं आएगी. इट्स बिन आर्टिफिशियली क्रिएटेड टू काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट सम सॉर्ट ऑफ स्किल. उसमें कोई कोने में अगर H2 पे भी पॉन पड़ा है, उसका कोई ना कोई सिग्निफिकेंस होता है. तो जो 247 मूव मेड थी, 257 मूव, वो भी स्टडी थी. तभी वो H4 पॉन का भी सिग्निफिकेंस था. हर पॉन का सिग्निफिकेंस था उसमें कुछ ना कुछ. तो स्टडी आर्टिफिशियली क्रिएट की जाती है, एक्चुअल गेम में कभी नहीं आएगी. but it still tests your like calculation ability, your tactics, your understanding of the game in general. तो कभी कभी सॉल्व करना चाहिए. चेस इज कोर्स कुछ नहीं है गाइस इसमें तो. I mean, it's basically for people who want to get to 2000 rating, I think. इसे हम उसमें चैनल पे भी कर ही रहे हैं technically, but somehow it's more like a book along with a few videos. So technically, for example, if you go to register, this is different क्योंकि इसमें फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो उनका कोर्स भी है, इसका भी वही है, 60 hours ऑफ मटीरियल है, बट इट्स नॉट बेस्ड ऑन वीडियो कंटेंट पूरा. वीडियो कंटेंट इज लाइक 1/10 मे बी इवन वन लेस देन दैट, बट इट्स लाइक अ बुक, मतलब बुक की तरह है. एंड यू कैन बेसिकली आई मीन यू फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमने बहुत सारी बुक्स से कंपाइल्ड, हमारे गेम्स से कंपाइल्ड ओपनिंग्स, मिडिल गेम्स, एंड गेम्स, ओवरऑल चेस एबिलिटी फोकस किया है, नॉट नेसेसरली ऑन वन ओपनिंग, बिकॉज opening is not necessarily, let's say, the only thing. It should be the last thing one should work on. But we'll do that at night. और रात तो करेंगे वो. We'll do that at night. नहीं रोहित, दिन को एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि लाइक थोड़ा काम भी होता है. सबको काम होता है एक्चुअली. आई एम श्योर ऑफिस का, स्कूल का, कॉलेज का, ट्यूशन, मेरा खुद का काम. सो इट्स लाइक कि मतलब वो मज़ा नहीं आता, बिकॉज समहाउ यू ऑलवेज हैव दिस इन द माइंड कि कुछ और करना बाकी है अभी दिन में. सो रात को ज़्यादा मत आता, बिकॉज यू नो सब हो गया, अब फ्री हैं. गौतम चेस कोर्सेज की वेबसाइट, गौतम चेस कोर्सेज की वेबसाइट भी है. अरे वाह, मुझे पता ही नहीं था यार. ओके, हाँ ठीक तो है, बट लेट मी सी कोर्सेज. हाउ डू आई ओपनिंग बंडल्स. Okay, let me refresh. New courses. One more. Beginner boot camp. Okay. Of course, beginner की तो ज़रूरत नहीं होती courses की, I think. मतलब if you don't know the move, how to move the pieces, then I can understand. Otherwise, तो you have enough information available. Uh, okay. 64 USD. What? At just? भाई आर्य ने क्या दिखा दिया भाई. Are you kidding me? मतलब दिस इज द कोर्स आउटलाइन, मतलब पीसेस के रूल्स, वैल्यूज, बोर्ड, कैप्चरिंग, चेकमेट, एंड दिस इज लाइक 8 चैप्टर्स. मैंने और प्रणाली ने 30 दिन का मटेरियल बनाया. दैट्स प्राइस एट 499 रुपीज फॉर बिगनर्स. ये ये तो 499 USD पहुंचने वाला है भाई. दिस इज इनसेन. रियली, दैट इज वेरी वियर्ड गाइस, वेरी वियर्ड. This is insane. Okay, definitely not this one. और कौन सा है? एक ही है क्या? बिगनर बूट कैम्प बस, और कुछ नहीं है? Let me go back. Okay, openings. Let's look at openings. इसका वैल्यू क्या है? आई एम क्यूरियस नाउ. जा रहा हूँ, आ रही हूँ, उसी पे जा रहा हूँ. Attacking repertoire with e4, d4. Okay, this sounds more reasonable, but वो पिछला वाला तो was insane. I mean, I would not buy it in a million years. But ये वाला क्या है? Let me check it out. Okay, this sounds more reasonable. Yeah, this sounds more reasonable, but let me check it out. Yeah, this sounds more reasonable, guys. Yeah, let me see. But I don't like the opening recommendations he has made. Gambits, Sicilian king against a3, b3, French king against b3. No, not this. लंडन एंड ट्रम्पर्स की, इसे तो मेरा ही आइडिया छिपा है भाई, मतलब ओके अब खुद का इसका आइडिया, बट लिटरली ही हैज पुट आउट द सेम थिंग्स आई डिड. आई काइंड ऑफ फील कि should be done, but it's way overpriced at $40, man. Okay, but it's possible because वो US में है guys, तो उसके लिए it makes sense. $40 is not too much for people in the US. So this I still understand a little bit. This I also kind of understand, but the only thing is कि I'm not really happy with the opening choices he has made. Like A3, B3 ये सब सिस्टम के कौन खेलता है यार? I would not recommend this at all. This looks better, but somehow Indians के लिए it makes less sense still. But I think yeah, this makes more sense. But still Indians के लिए it's very expensive. And E6, B6 ये क्या है भाई? आर्यन उसकी recommendations terrible हैं. I don't like his recommendations. E4, D4. Okay. But ये क्या recommendation है यार? I mean, he has made recommendations for absolute amateurs. मतलब जो मतलब like इनको चेस का कुछ नहीं पता. They just play something like random openings. Bishop B7, Bishop B4. Okay, this. हर बार Bishop B7, Bishop B4, Bishop B7, Bishop B4, F5, Bishop B4, F5. I don't know, man. I don't like his. Caro-Kann देखते हैं last. इसका प्राइस ज़्यादा तो मे भी अच्छा होगा. लेट मी सी. ओके, Caro-Kann साउंड्स लॉजिकल, बट गाइस अगर Caro-Kann सीखना है, जस्ट गो टू चेस बेस. आई एक्चुअली बॉट दिस. आई शो यू, रुको. ओके, या दिस वन गाइस. ये विदित की Caro-Kann की डीवीडी है. 2 वॉल्यूम है इसके, एंड यू कैन बेसिकली गेट इट फॉर 2200 आई थिंक. मैंने खुद खरीदी हुई है. आई थिंक दिस इज मच बेटर. दिस इज मच बेटर एंड इट इज विदित ने करी है. सो ऑफ कोर्स ही इज लाइक 2700 लिटिल प्लेयर. एंड मैंने दोनों खरीदी है. बहुत अच्छी है ये. मैंने इसको पूरा देख के आई स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग Caro-Kann. आई प्लेड मेनी गेम्स इवन तो माई रिजल्ट्स वर नॉट सो ग्रेट, बट इट्स बिकॉज कि वो ओपनिंग मुझे सूट नहीं करी आई थिंक. बट जो विदित ने एक्सप्लेनेशन दी थी, इट वॉज अमेजिंग. बहुत सही था. आई वुड हाईली रिकमेंड कि ये ले लो. दिस इज मच बेटर. वो $60 का पता नहीं क्या है ये. क्विक स्टार्टर क्या होता है यार? आई डोंट नो. ओके, दिस इज स्टिल मे बी G6 एंड NC6. This might be still is okay, but I think there's a better option. There's a better option in the Vidit's course, which is much cheaper and much better. नहीं, रोस्ट नहीं कर रहा यार. इट्स जस्ट कि मतलब इट्स बेस्ड फॉर ऑडियंस जो सिर्फ मजे के लिए खेलना आती है. इफ यू वांट टू इम्प्रूव, ये E6 B6 कौन सेल्फ रिस्पेक्टिंग आदमी खेलेगा यार ब्लैक से. एंड दिस इज ओके, बट यू डोंट नीड टू पे सो मच. इंडियन ऑडियंस के लिए ज़्यादा है. एंड इसका तो मुझे ये प्राइस वाइज वॉज फाइन, बट क्योंकि इट इज़ अ कंप्लीट रेपेटवार, बट जो चॉइसेस रिकमेंड करी है, इट इज़ रिडिकुलस. आई मीन कौन खेलता है मतलब हु प्लेस E4 C5 A3 मैन. हु प्लेस E4 C5 A3? कौन सा आदमी खेलता है E4 C5 B3? कोई नहीं खेलता यार ये. दिस इज नॉट गुड. आई मीन ही इज I don't want to like sound negative, but he's just trying to make money by teaching systems जो which will not help these people जो खरीद रहे हैं. Yes, Aryan, but at some point you have to learn other systems, right? If you want to learn other systems, then why even learn these? It makes no sense. For example, I did not play the London system as the first opening. First, I started playing all the openings with 1d4, and then I started playing the London. I got comfortable with it. So that is still better than starting with these openings. I can't really. I mean, let me quickly show you guys क्या बोल रहा है वो. Just a moment. So he's saying, let me quickly show that. So he's saying E4, C5 and A3. Who plays this, man? Who plays this? And second option, this is he's saying tactical, and this is he's saying positional. I mean, like, find me like Carlsen's game in this. Find me Kasparov's game in this. Nobody will play like this, man. Yeah, money back guarantee, but like, why? Why recommend this? I think $40 was amazing price for an E4 repertoire by an IM. If it was complete, it's not bad at all. But I don't like his recommendations at all, so I can't recommend this in any conscious guys. नहीं, definitely not, definitely not. और वीडियो कंटेंट सिर्फ 2 घंटे का है. कैन यू इमेजिन 2 घंटे के लिए 2 घंटे के वीडियो कंटेंट में ही इज एक्सप्लेनिंग एंटायर E4. लाइक, आर यू किडिंग मी? नो यार, आई कांट रिकमेंड इट. उसका चैनल फॉलो करो यार, दैट विल गिव यू मोर कंटेंट, बट नॉट हिज कोर्सेज, डेफिनेटली नॉट. Yes, Pratyanuk, it's amazing. I have it myself. It's amazing. Diamond King की DVD amazing है. नाइट ऑफ की बहुत ही सही है, बहुत ही सही है. नहीं खेला है आर्यन यार, बट वो कितनी बार खेलेंगे? वो खेलेंगे ब्लिट्स रैपिड में कभी एक गेम 100 में से. लाइक ऐसा तो कार्लसन लंडन सिस्टम इतना खेलता है वर्ल्ड ब्लिट्स रैपिड, बट इट्स नॉट अ मेन लाइन ओपनिंग. क्लासिकल ओपनिंग्स में दे डोंट प्ले दिस. Nobody will play E4, C5, A3 in a classical game ever. और कभी खेलेंगे तो पूरी लाइफ में एक बार, पूरी लाइफ में. That tells you कि it's not something which you can play on a daily basis. At least, चलो ठीक है, मतलब you can choose guys if you want to. If you want to, you can try it out, of course. I personally cannot recommend that. I mean, this E4, C5, and then A3 तो sounds ridiculous to me, and B3 is still more popular, but it's also played like once in a while. A3 तो it's ridiculous. Yeah, Prajwal, but you have to understand कि it's Blitz, it's Title Tuesday, and Blitz में तो I can even start with like first move H3 and manage to win. I can even play A3 and manage to win. I can play B3 and manage to win. It's nothing to do with the opening, I think. Venkatesh, ऐसे बताना मुश्किल है यार. I cannot dictate it based on Blitz. I think to analyze somebody's style, you need to really play a lot of games with them and of longer time control. It's very difficult to analyze based on one Blitz game. It's very difficult because of the bullet थी ऊपर से. It's very difficult. Yeah, Aryan, but you have to understand it might also be just a product placement, by the way. I'm not saying कि विदित जानबूझ के हारा होगा, but if he plays A3 and he wins against Vidit, that is the perfect product placement. So वो चीज़ ध्यान रखना, like just keep that in mind. That might also be the case. क्योंकि Vidit losing to Levy is did he lose on stream on Title Tuesday? Title Tuesday, huh? Okay, then it's less likely, but still, I would not play A3, guys. I cannot play A3. I cannot recommend playing A3 because कोई भी normal chess player C5 पे, I mean, I was dissing knight C3, man. I was dissing this move to kind of play. नहीं यार, A3 नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Venkatesh, I know, but Simon, when I'm playing 100 games, it's sometimes even difficult to analyze कि मैं किससे खेल रहा हूँ. मैं तो नाम भी नहीं पढ़ता. I just play the move, so it's very difficult. Guys, if you really want an E4 repertoire, just find it somewhere else. Don't go for this one because this is not a long-term repertoire. You cannot play this. I mean, this is not a long-term repertoire for sure. You will have to switch, and this will get you like 2-3 quick wins, 3-4 quick wins. Blitz में your rating will improve by 100 points. I agree क्योंकि लोगों को पता नहीं होगा what to do. But once people figure it out and once you start playing serious chess, this will not work. Trust me. नहीं यार, ये ओपनिंग किसी के स्टाइल के लिए भी अच्छी नहीं है. I cannot recommend this. Aryan, I would say your style is more attacking considering your openings, but it's hard to say. I think slightly tending towards attacking, but it's hard to say without playing longer games actually. But I would say it's tending towards attacking play. But you know, I basically have no time to do that. I'm sorry, but I really don't have any time because you can understand that maybe I can find out time for one person, but then it's kind of unfair to do it for one person. I should do it for everybody, and I basically have no time in the day to kind of do that because I have many things to do and I have to practice also, guys, because I am also hoping to play tournaments next year, maybe around, I don't know when. अब तो नया strain आ गया virus का, so you never know. but at some point I want to play next year, so I also have to practice myself and I have to have the streams, the website and everything else. So वो भी चीज़ें हैं. 1500 पहुंचने के लिए tactics guys, tactics is the easiest way. Tactics is the fastest way to improve because positional play में क्या होता है, एक हल्की सी advantage मिलती है, but tactical play में you win a piece, the game is over. That's not true, Venkatesh. Yes, Berlin is good for solid players. Definitely, you get the bishop pair, a solid structure, but you can play others as well. For example, open try Lopez hai. I have played that as black. That is also very like equalish. It's good for solid players. Tanish, I don't personally play e4 e5 too much, but I can play that some other time. When I play with subscribers, you can let me know. I'll play e4 e5. Kirti, yes, that is the reason he comes out with these openings against stronger players, because he knows he cannot defeat them in the main lines, and he might have some more analysis which other players have not looked at, and it can work in Blitz and Rapid. I agree. It will give him some wins, but if you ask him honestly that will you play this a3 against a top grandmaster even a couple of games, he will say no. If he's being honest, he will say no, because any grandmaster, Vidit ko utha lo, he will refute a3 over the board. He does not even need analysis to refute this. So Larry will never play this against a strong grandmaster himself. So if he's not playing this against a strong grandmaster, so why is he recommending this? It's only because it's quick to analyze. He doesn't have to go into so much theory. हमने खुद देखा, तीन घंटे हो गए हमें, 3 गैम्बिट्स ही देखी हमने, अभी तो मेन रेpertoire पे आए ही नहीं. And it's not so interesting. We had a watching of 6 at some point today. Mainline dekhna, it's very difficult. It gets boring because both sides are playing the best moves. Gambits is more exciting, but I personally can't really recommend let's say moves like a3 b3. ये सब चीज मेरे बाहर है. मैंने कोई व्हाट्सएप मैसेज नहीं देखा तनिष. यूके में कोई नया वायरस नहीं, नया म्यूटेशन हुई है, and it is just slightly more let's say फैलता ज़्यादा है. बाकी कुछ डेटा नहीं है उसके बारे में. It's not that it's more serious, it just spreads a bit quicker and they are still doing analysis on it. So I mean it's not more dangerous at all. ऐसा मैंने कुछ नहीं बोला. Tanish, I cannot I don't know. I mean courses के केस में depends what you want. Are you looking for openings? Then I would say कि if your budget is low, go for chess based videos. If you're looking for let's say all-round development, you can even go for our courses. If you're looking for specific like end games, then just go for books. So it depends on what you're looking for. But Chessable and Gotham Chess so far, I personally, for example, even Iron 2200, if let's say Gotham Chess or Chessable comes up with some sort of course where they're even saying ki you do this course, you will jump 100 points, 200 points as a 2200, I will probably not take it because yeah, I mean it feels like it's not personal because हर player different होता है, हर player की weaknesses different होती हैं. One generalized course cannot work for everybody. Uh, 2K पहुंचने के लिए I think you need to work on I think it depends. I think for example you play the Nuckmanson Gambit, so that tells me कि main lines पे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करा है. So start working a bit on the main lines and stop playing this a3. इससे 2000 कभी पहुंचोगे भी तो immediately नीचे आ जाओगे. And I would say start playing main lines in openings. Even if you make mistakes, learn from them and try to challenge opponents, stronger opponents in their like. Don't be scared of playing the main lines. Like कि opponent को पता होगा क्या करना है. Let me surprise him. Surprises don't work over the board actually because people can analyze your old games. They will have it with them. They can analyze तुम क्या क्या खेलते हो. कितने surprise लाओगे board पे. So start working on middle games. Most important. अगर 1500-1600 है तो end game basic तो पता ही है तुम्हें. So and openings तुम्हें पता है basic. So start working on middle games. I think that will help you reach from 1600 to 1800, 1900. And once you reach 1800, 1900, then start working on theoretical endgames like rook endgames and improving your opening repertoire and playing the main lines. आर्यन रटनी पड़ेगी. It's not रटने की जरूरत नहीं है ना. you basically try to analyze कि कोई क्यों खेल रहा है. It will take time, but you can try to play these random lines, but over the board there's a reason they are the main lines कि hundreds of like मतलब 100-200 साल के चेस के बाद ये निकाला गया है बेस्ट मूव्स हैं. You don't have to play the main lines, you can play the side lines, but not a3. Sicilian में knight c3 खेल दो, like e4 c5 knight c3, that is still okay, it's not bad. But e4 c5 a3, that is ridiculous. I mean ये तो कोई भी self respecting आदमी नहीं खेलना चाहिए. I would hope over the board at least. Main lines, Tanish, play main lines, but sometimes play the side lines as a surprise weapon. For example, e4 c5 knight f3 is the main line. You can sometimes play knight c3, but not a3. Muzio Gambit मुझे पता भी नहीं है यार. That is the thing. I don't even know what Muzio Gambit is. So that tells you कि कितना popular है वो. Yes, it should be enough, Tajab. It should be enough to reach 1500. Definitely, it should be enough. Chess.com, Puzzle Rush, and all of that should be enough to reach 1500. But if you don't, then you can also work on puzzles on random books. Yeah, Caro-Can is interesting. You can play if you like the structures in Caro-Can, you can definitely play that. Vishal, yes, it is good, but not always. It should be played as a surprise, like once in every 10 games maybe. At the highest level, or 1 in 20 games, not continuously, otherwise people will crush you because they will start preparing in depth. Venkatesh, open Rai Lopez, open Spanish, check that out. a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castles, and knight takes e4. Check it out. I think, guys, whenever you go for anybody who's living abroad, Gotham Chess, Chessable, they are basing their prices on the incomes of people in their country. So US and Europe, उनका average income ही यहाँ के I think middle class के I think upper class के average income के बराबर है. So I think we should not ideally it will always be expensive. So that's why Chessbase India in this respect is better, because they are giving the like Indian prices at 50% off. So if you have an option, go for their products. It will be much cheaper at the same value. And try to go for Indian things because they will price it based on their country and it will automatically be cheaper. $40 actually may not be high because it's based on the US का principle. It sounds high to us, but $40 तो literally बच्चे यार एक दिन में जाकर ला देते होंगे, छोटे छोटे बच्चे वहां पे जाके. यार जेनेशी बहुत घटिया ओपनिंग है यार, मत खेलो भाई, बहुत घटिया ओपनिंग है, बहुत घटिया ओपनिंग है. आए हाय मत खेलो यार प्लीज, वो प्लीज. मैं वो कवर करने वाला हूँ इसमें गैम्बिट्स में. आई लुक्ड एट इट ब्रीफली. बहुत घटिया ओपनिंग है यार. वाइट इज मच बेटर गाइस, डोंट प्ले दैट. श्वेशनिकोव का स्ट्रक्चर पसंद है तो यू कैन ऑल्सो प्ले द नाइट ऑफ, बिकॉज d5 वीकनेस नाइट ऑफ में भी होती है. सो यू कैन प्ले द नाइट ऑफ एंड द Sveshnikov. Kalashnikov was similar here, I think. You can play the knight off also, I think. If you like Sveshnikov structure, knight off में भी similar themes होती हैं. Bishop g5, controlling the d5 square, and all of that. Knight off try कर सकते हो. नाका ने क्या रिकमेंड किया? अरे नाकामुरा है भाई. नाकामुरा बॉन्ग क्लाउड खेल के भी जीत जाता है. हम लोग नाकामुरा नहीं है ना. लाइक you can play the f5 system like once in a while, but if you start playing continuously, वो white के लिए it's clearly better out of the opening. It's just clearly better out of the opening. भाई ओपनिंग को गंदा इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि you cannot play it over the board. ब्लिट्स में तो जो करना है करो यार, it doesn't matter. But once tournament start, you actually want a FIDE rating, you want to get FIDE ratings, you want to get it to 2000, you want any titles या जो भी है, ये नहीं काम करेगा यार. I'm assuring you, जो भी E4 players हैं उन्होंने बहुत बार फेस किया है. दे हैव एनालाइज्ड इट टू डेथ एंड दे विल लिटरली आउटप्ले यू इन द ओपनिंग इटसेल्फ. 15 मूव में हार जाओगे, बिकॉज यहाँ पे क्या है, सेकंड होते हैं यार, 10 सेकंड होते हैं सोचने के लिए. वहाँ पे क्या होता है कि वहाँ पे यू कैन थिंक फॉर 30 मिनट्स फॉर वन मूव इफ यू वांट. सो इमेजिन करो कि यार 30-40 मिनट कोई सोच के तुम्हारा रिफ्यूट नहीं कर देगा क्या कोई शेडी सी गैम्बिट. नाकामुरा तो कुछ भी कर सकता है. Open Rai Lopez is more tactical. Yeah, it's not. It is tactical, of course. But I think if you know what to do as black, then I think it's very solid. It's very difficult to play for a win with the Open Rai Lopez, but it's very difficult for white to win as well. I have played it in a few games. I have good results actually. So I can show you some games later on in that. I have played a few games, so it's nice. It's nice. भाई पर तुम पोजीशन कौन सी देख रहे हो वो भी देखो ना. uh, yes, Vishal, you can do that. That's not a bad strategy. If you want to avoid playing theory, you can definitely do that. Yeah, definitely, that is possible. Although, again, at the start, I blitz to perfect hai because it's not like some forced random crappy line. You can definitely try it out, but it's better to have some other system as well, because at some point you'll get bored with it. मजा नहीं आएगा. Your creativity will go down because एक ही system दोनों color से खेलना, you'll get bored of it somehow. That is the thing. So creativity नीचे जाती है guys. When you try something new, your creativity that is peak. तो कुछ नया भी सीखने का benefit रहेगा साथ में. Yeah, it's not boring, Tanish. I think it's just depends on the style. If you find it boring, maybe you like attacking play. So in that case, you should go for some other openings. So yeah, it's not boring definitely, but because it's the one of the most played openings in the entirety of chess. So I would say ki it's interesting, but yeah, maybe it doesn't suit your style. That is totally possible. No alone hands. It's not it's a sound opening, but it's not the most ambitious. You can play it, but I think not as the only main repertoire choice. I don't think so. It can be a second kind of repertoire, let's say. Dutch and reverse Dutch. Um, it's okay. It's not like a trashy opening. It's okay, but it's not ambitious. So you can play it, but again, it's not. It will work against lower rated players actually. Lower rated से काम करेगा because they don't know how to defend, but stronger players से काम नहीं करेगा. So you can play it against lower rated players, but higher rated players के against you'll always lose, I think, in that opening. So ध्यान रखना. Yeah, Vishal, rating बढ़ेगी, but it's not just the opening, no. Like at some point the games will deviate, and same structures खेल खेल के. For example, I play the London, I'm good at it, but it's not. It doesn't feel nice that if I change openings, I might not be able to defeat the same player. So it will be good for your confidence also, and also for your creativity if you have more options. But yes, I agree. If you only play one system, of course, it will be beneficial to your rating, your understanding of the position. But in the end, it's about understanding of chess also. So it's better to have something else. But of course, you can have one thing also. Ambitious matlab you're trying to gain advantage in the opening. That is the thing. If you're trying to gain advantage in the opening, you should actually try to play the best moves, play different moves. तुम कार्लसन का ओपनिंग देख लो यार. ओपन अप कार्लसन का डेटाबेस डाउनलोड करो एंड देखो कितनी ओपनिंग खेली है उसने. बाय गॉड, कुछ नहीं छोड़ा उसने जिंदगी में. सब कुछ खेला है उसने. उसने पहली मूव पे A3, B3, C3, E4, D4, C3, C4, F4, G3 सब कुछ खेला है. सेकंड मूव पे E4, E5, नाइट F3, E4, E5, बिशप C4, E4, E5, नाइट C3, E4, E5, F4 सब खेला है. फिर E4, C5, नाइट F3, नाइट C6, फिर बिशप B5, बिशप C4, नाइट C3, D4, B3 सब. He has tried everything, and that is why he understands the game so much. I play E4, Tanesh, D4 of course. D4 is my choice, but I also want to play E4. That's why we are learning. And I'm not ignoring your messages, Ame. I did not see them. 3XM Bolt, Random for Bullets का कहाँ कुछ हुआ था क्या पीछे? I did not see it. Yeah, definitely there is some amazing things, guys. Definitely do check them out. Birds opening B, it's okay. You can play it, but I would not recommend it. Birds opening B, it's like playing this A3 wala. It's borderline ridiculous, but okay, it can be played sometimes. Alf is like boo boo. Yes, I saw that. He laughed at his opponent. I think Lawrence Fresine, and Fresine उसका second ही है. He laughed and then he even won the game. So Carlsen के और Nakamura के suggestion से मत जाओ guys. If we were that strong, तो we could literally play anything and win. I know Aryan, but it's different because Dutch is usually played against one D4, and as reverse Dutch, if you play one F4, black is not sure to play d5. He is not guaranteed to play d5. So they have to notice that difference. If white plays d4, black plays f5, then already the e4 square is a bit weak for white. So he can imagine knight f6, d5, knight e4. But if white plays 1 f4, black has still not played d5. He can choose to play c5. He can choose to play d6 and e5. So suddenly you don't have that knight e5 available as white. So that is why that is more popular as black, and bird's opening is not so popular. चेस बेस का आई थिंक चेस बेस का ओपनिंग्स के लिए है फॉर 1000-1500. जस्ट वर्क ऑन टैक्टिक्स गाइस, बाय एनी टैक्टिकल बुक and just work on that. That will help you reach 1500 easily. Yeah, Ganesh, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe I should reduce the number of gambits maybe, because otherwise तो साल लग जाएगा करने में. Maybe I'll reduce. I have covered a few. I think I'll reduce the number of gambits for sure now. मुझे पता नहीं आर्यन. I'll see. I'm not yet sure. Yeah, Krit. So ठीक है guys, let's end the stream and I'll see you tonight later. Panali will also be there most probably. So yeah, सब बोलो please. ठीक है guys, so I'll see you tonight. Take care, keep smiling and कुछ ना कुछ करते हैं. अभी तो नहीं बढ़ी होगी विशाल, अभी तो मेरी कम ही होगी 2250 से. आई थिंक इट मस्ट बी अराउंड समवेयर अराउंड 2150 और 2220. लाइक कुछ कम ही हुई होगी, बट आई थिंक आई कैन, it's very easy to cover that up in like 15 days. It's not too difficult. 15 days of intense practice should get me back to 2250, and then it's all about gaining rating further. Like that is the thing. हाँ भाई आ जाएंगे, don't worry. Hi Gizmogul. That's fine. Actually, we have been chatting around for the past like I don't know how many minutes. So the opening part was at the start. Double around 9 p.m. I guess. We'll be back around 9 p.m. I think 9 p.m. we'll be back. भगवान की जरूरत नहीं है, भगवान के नाम की जरूरत नहीं है, वैसे ही आ जाएंगे यार. क्लब बैटल करेंगे यार, क्लब बैटल तो करेंगे. द ओनली थिंग इज कि अतुल इज नॉट स्ट्रीमिंग. नुबैर से आई हैव नॉट हैड अ कन्वर्सेशन येट, एंड सीसीआई का आई थिंक दे आर नॉट फ्री ऑन वीकडेज, सो उनका वीकेंड्स का ही चलता है. They are working, so in that case they are not able to play on weekdays. So no alone hands. Anand does not have a great score against Carlsen at all. Anand has a terrible score against Carlsen as well as Nakamura, because they're just younger and more dynamic, and he's not able to play at his peak. It's just to do with age, nothing else. And a bit of playing styles, but I think Anand was also a dynamic player. So at his peak, he would have been easily be able to handle Carlsen and Nakamura, but nowadays he's just a bit older, so tactics reduce and everything reduce. His skills kind of go down a little bit with age. So that's why that is the issue, I think, there. So ठीक है guys, I'll see you later. Do join in at 9. So take care guys, keep smiling, and I'll see you at 9. Bye bye.